Victory celebration in Bauchi State turned violent today, with one person confirmed killed and 14 others injured, as well as a clash between rival groups during the Durbar procession in the state capital, Bauchi. The state governor, Bala Muhammad, is worried about the incident, which he describes as planned based on the preliminary inquiry from the police. Governor Muhammad made the comments when he visited the injured at the Trauma and Emergency Center of the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, Bauchi. He, however, promised to go tough on miscreants, attempting to truncate the peace of the state. On his part, the Commissioner of Police, Habu Sani, says at least 55 persons have been arrested and investigations still ongoing.
It was a peaceful procession and demonstration by the district heads with the emir who came to pay homage to the executive governor of Bauchi State. Along the line, there are two groups of hunters that are accompanying the two district heads of Duguri and then Terrorism. So the hunters that accompanied had misunderstanding between them, and then they started attacking each other. And at the end, we have these casualties that we have today. We have moved in and we have effected some arrests and recovered some of the exhibits that were used for that. Investigation is still ongoing, and we'll make sure that we will not relent until we get to the root of the matter, and then we resolve it amicably.
However, the violent clash did not stop the Eid al-Fitr celebration in the state, as Governor Bala Muhammad again seized the moment to renew his promise to uphold the tradition of the Durbar festival and explore its economic potential. He was speaking at the palace of the Emir Bauchi, Dr. Rilwan Adamu, during this year's Durbar festival. A similar festival also held in Sokoto State at the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sayyad Abubakar. The Durbar is usually celebrated at the end of the month of Ramadan.
Muslims in Bauchi State celebrate the annual Durbar festival, which usually precedes the Ramadan fast. The festival dates as far back as 1911. It is a colorful display of well-decorated horses and traditionally dressed riders. The Bauchi State Governor is at the palace of the Emir to celebrate and pay homage. The day after Eid, the Emir returns the visit of the Governor. Governor Bala Muhammad is optimistic of the economic benefits of the festival.
It is not a carnival per se, but even here you can see there are a lot of tourists here. So I believe this is going to be one area where we are going to explore how tourists will come and bring foreign investment to us.
It is our tradition, even during the period of war. The Madaki is always at the front, followed by others, including His Royal Highness the Emir of Bauchi.
Also in Sokoto State, after observing the Eid prayers, thousands of Muslims converge on the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto for a mini Durbar. The mini Durbar is an avenue for people living in the caliphate to come together and celebrate after a month of prayers and fasting. It is a colorful event which accommodates every class. Muslims are charged to continue to imbibe the religious and good teachings learned during the holy month of Ramadan.
While the celebration continues in Bauchi and Sokoto states, the story is different in Kano, as the state government cancels the annual Hawan Nasarawa, also known as the Durbar, slated for Thursday, June 6th, for security reasons. This is coming shortly after a security meeting between Governor Abdullahi Ganduje and security chiefs in the state, with intelligence reports indicating there could be a breach of peace during the event. A statement signed by the governor's chief press secretary, Awal Anwar, says Governor Ganduje remains committed to protecting lives and ensuring the security of residents, and he will not want a breakdown of law and order during the celebrations. The statement adds that the Kano Emirate has been informed about the cancellation of the annual event. The President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, is in Nigeria on a private visit. He has met with President Muhammadu Buhari at State House Abuja today. Although President Akufo-Addo insists his visit is a private one, though Nigeria and Ghana have enjoyed bilateral and economic relations which have spanned several years. Apart from the relations that are crucial to both countries, are the two largest economies in West Africa. The meeting comes 3 days after President Buhari returned to Abuja from Saudi Arabia, where he attended the 14th summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Security matters still. The Nigerian Air Force says the sustained air offensive against remnants of Islamic State of West Africa province fighters on the fringes of the Lake Chad is yielding more results as the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole destroyed terrorist structures and logistics facilities at Tubun Kayowa in northern Borno State today. The Director of Information and Public Relations of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, says the operation was executed following confirmation by Nigerian Air Force intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance platform that some terrorists were harbored along with their logistics items and facilities in some structures well camouflaged under dense vegetation within the location. He added the Air Task Force scrambled 2 Alpha Jet aircrafts to attack the location, recording direct hits on the structures and logistics facilities which were seen engulfed in flames. Several ISWAP fighters are said to have been equally neutralized as a result of the strikes. Meanwhile, the Air Force believes that the procurement of new aircrafts like the Tucano jet by the federal government has changed the game, with federal troops now having superior power over the insurgents. The army is insisting the report of recent attacks on local communities and 2 military bases in Damboa local government area and Mate local council area of Borno State is mere propaganda. The General Officer commanding 7th Division of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Abdulmalik Bulama, describes those attacks as pure publicity stunts by the insurgents to stay relevant and in the news. General Bulama was responding to questions during a visit to the 22 Brigade in Dikwa. He says he's optimistic the army is winning the war on insurgency despite the attacks on soft targets and the military.
This is an issue of really understanding what is war against terrorism. All over, even the Americans, who are rated as the highest army, the most strongest nation in the world, they still have issues today. They have been in it some several years ago. War against terrorism, it is not a war that you can clinically finish it within a given minute or a week or a day. So it is that understanding that will tell you. But like I always say, you need to weigh it against where we were, especially from 2015 to today. The pre-2015, virtually every part of Borno State were under the whole of the Boko Haram. Today, can we say it is? No. Before 2015, you cannot come to this town called Dikwa. This is one of the areas they held. They lay claim to it, even trace it to history that is their ancestral home. This is where the Anglican call was buried. Therefore, it is their own territory. They named it and call it all sorts of names. Today, we are here dining with the troops.
Staying with security matters, the police in Abia State have launched a manhunt for police officer Sergeant Collins Apugo, who allegedly shot dead a young man, Chibike Onwoha, in Umuahia North local government area of the state. The 24-year-old man was reportedly shot dead by Sergeant Apugo in Okulaga Afara community in Umuahia on Monday night during an argument. The police allegedly took to his heels. The policeman took to his heels and abandoned his patrol vehicle after the shooting, and angry residents of the area immediately set it ablaze in protest. The police commissioner in the state, Mr. Ene Okon, says a 5-man committee, including an assistant commissioner of police, the area commander, and the security advisor to the state government have set up to prevent a breakdown of law and order. Mr. Okon, while condemning the action of the policeman, admitted that the officer failed to adhere to the rules of engagement and vowed to leave no stone unturned to apprehend the culprit. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, is seeking tougher legislation against kidnapping and banditry. A police chief also wants possible seizure of assets linked to illicit proceeds from kidnapping and other heinous crimes. The IGP believes the legislation will act as a strong disincentive to potential kidnappers and other violent criminals. He made the comments while playing host to a delegation of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria from Nasarawa State. Mr. Adamu also reeled out the successes recorded by the police in combating armed banditry and kidnapping through Operation Puff Adder across the country. He says no fewer than 2,175 suspects have been arrested for kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, and cultism. To the legislation now, the leadership tussle for the 9th Assembly thickens. A campaign team of one of the leading contenders for the seat of the House of Representatives Speaker, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, is refuting allegations of criminal fraud leveled against him. The Director General of the Gbajabiamila Wase campaign team, Abdulmumin Jibrin, says the majority leader had no case to answer either in the United States or anywhere in the world. This clarification comes a day to the end of the 8th National Assembly as preparations swing into full gear for the inauguration of the 9th Assembly on June 9th.
The race to the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives intensifies by the day as allegations of perjury and criminal conviction continues to trail the candidacy of Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. At a news conference in Abuja, the Director General of the Femi Wase campaign organization dismissed the allegation.
We wish to state once again and emphatically clear that Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila has never been convicted for any crime in the United States of America, Nigeria, or any other country around the world for that matter. He has never been accused of corruption and has no corruption case hanging on his neck in Nigeria or anywhere around the world.
Flanked by supporters who are elected members of the House of Representatives, Honorable Jibrin addresses the reason behind the campaign of calumny against Mr. Gbajabiamila.
This campaign of calumny is orchestrated to poison the minds of our leaders against Honorable Femi, which has failed woefully. Now the agenda is to smear his reputation through creation of illusion of truth, an idea of repeated lying until people are forced to believe.
For the benefit of other elected members of the House, Honorable Jibrin restates the need for nation building.
We wish to reinstate that Honorable Femi will run an all-inclusive House, with all the parties carried along in running the affairs of the House, committees and other responsibilities inclusive. It is no surprise that we adopted the slogan, nation building, a joint task.
With the proclamation by President Muhammadu Buhari, the 9th National Assembly is expected to be inaugurated on the 11th of June 2019, a day when principal officers of the Assembly will be elected.